Hello and welcome to another, I want to say episode, but I don't know what episode number we're on, of the Creative Cowshed. And we haven't talked about photography for a while, so we thought it would be a good opportunity, given that we're coming into like the autumn, the trees are starting to turn, and people are thinking about getting ready for Christmas. Charlotte handily informed me earlier that it is currently 100 days until Christmas.
Mere 100 days.
My response is not shareable on the internet.
It's scary, but people have already been doing their Christmas content. And a lot of people are now really ramping up the Christmas content because it needs to be ready to go in a few weeks' time, really, depending on how you're planning to run things and the nature of your business. We're starting to see it already. The content's going out about Christmas, so
October is 2 weeks away, and October tends to be when we start to see the sort of soft. I mean, your corporates are already like, you walk into some places and there's like pumpkins, and there's already sort of little bits of Christmas dotted about. But I think certainly for small businesses, the sort of run up for me really is the last quarter of the year. But also, I think when we talk about sort of autumn winter content, we're not necessarily talking about product-based businesses in the run up to Christmas. We are talking, like the topic of today is service-based business, and that's more just appropriate seasonal images.
Yeah.
Because you can't be posting pictures of you in a pretty summer dress or a pair of shorts in November, because it will just look strange.
Yeah, you can, but it seems a bit odd unless there's a point to it, like you're talking about something that's going to be happening in summer or reflecting on something that happened in summer, or it's you on holiday and it's aspirational. But you'll notice it in our content, in a lot of people's content, it tends to change with the seasons, because we're all getting into that warm, fuzzy sort of vibe now, where we want to see hands holding hot chocolates and roaring fires and orange leaves on our social media. If you just look at Instagram as a whole, especially in this country, in about 3 weeks' time, it will be orange.
Yeah.
Like everything's going to be orange and brown and warm, which is great. We love it. That's our favourite season.
It's our favourite. I mean, it works for us in terms of you only have to look at our branding, and there's like the colours that we naturally, look what I'm wearing today, like the colours that we naturally lean towards we are autumnal in our leanings from a colour palette perspective. So we're quite enthusiastic about kind of autumn, winter, and actually you can have some real fun with your sort of branding shoots coming into the winter. It opens up a whole nother kind of realm, and also you aren't trying to second guess the weather, because in the summer quite often when we're trying to capture super summery content, the weather doesn't play ball.
It's crazy. People always assume summer is the best time for photos. It is to an extent if you wait until some ungodly hour of the evening when you get the lovely golden hour light. Perfect. However, in autumn that comes much sooner, so it's much more civilized, and the sun's lower in the sky throughout the day, so you get this beautiful light. None of this squinty, bright, harsh lights. It's really, really ideal. And this year, I think last year we couldn't really do any.
We were a bit limited, weren't we? We could shoot outside. We shot outside, but we struggled to. This was a big conversation we were having, because we do a lot of not studio per se, but lit shoots where you will light the subject whilst inside, so that we can have some of those sort of like at the desk, at the piano, at work, inside. So we were limited with how much we could do that, because we weren't really allowed inside with other people, or only one of us could be, and that doesn't really work either. So we missed out on that fun sort of inside autumnal stuff last year.
And you say about having both of us there is a big part of what we do.
And I'm not a photographer. That's caveated with that.
Yeah, but how does that help our subjects?
Well, I think a big thing for me is relaxing, getting people to relax. And well, it's twofold. It's getting people to relax, and it's making sure that the day runs as effectively as possible and we get everything that we need. So the way that we structure our day is we will have pre-planned all the required shots. So we will have hero images in mind for the website, we will have social media images in mind, etc., etc. So actually all the planning is done before. So my job on the day is running around with outfits, it is running around with reflectors, but the most important thing for me on the day is to keep whoever we're shooting smiling, distracted, happy, entertained, so that you can then just get on with the photography element of it and catch those really natural, we refer to our style, your style, you very much lean towards that sort of reportage style, which is very, it's not looking directly at the camera, it is capturing as we go. And I think for people who are intimidated by having a camera in front of them, it's the best and safest route to go to get the shots that they want, that they will like.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of those people. You put a camera in my face and I forget how to do anything. Like, I forget how to smile. I forget how to hold my hands. I'm like, I've got arms. I don't know what to do with my arms. What do I normally do with my arms? So it kind of comes from personal experience, really, that if I'm busy talking to somebody, you get really good shots of me because I'm relaxed. I'm animated, but not at the camera. And those are the pictures that I really like. Or you follow me around picking up pumpkins, being a child. Like, usually if you give somebody something to play with, that's a good start.
So that brings us on to one of our top tips actually for service-based businesses. Is it depends on what your service is for a start, but it's easy to just go, okay, great, I need some pictures of me looking nice in a nice environment, a nice background. But actually what's relevant to your business? So what we do a lot of is try and get people in situ with something that relates to their business. If they are a craft person or a chef, they're even better because they can be doing the thing. So if you make beautiful leather work, we need photos of you doing that. Environmental headshots are a part of it, but what's really great and what will really sell you on your social media and your website is pictures of you doing your thing.
Yeah, there is only so many, from a social media perspective, only so many environmental headshots that you can share without it being like, why? So
100 pictures of Alice's face on our feed would start to get a bit weird.
Yeah, I mean, most of them are of me because getting you in front of the camera is a challenge. And I would just like to caveat, any pictures that you see of Charlotte are probably taken by me. Thank you very much. But it's a case of, we mix it up. We go and have like a mini day out, don't we? We go somewhere that we want to go, and we will get pictures with our phones, with our laptops, relaxed, but doing things. And actually some, us running around a sunflower field, which was the last one that we did, okay, it doesn't relate exactly to our business, but you see the types of people that we are, the fact that we like being out and about outside, that we're sort of rural rather than urban. You get a bit of our personality, and that's what it's all about. You have to, particularly with service-based businesses, think outside the box, but also not worry too much. If you are, for example, a PA and you spend most of your day sat at your desk, yes, we can definitely get those pictures of you sat at your desk doing your job. But actually, are there things outside of work that we can do that can help you to connect with your audience? Are you really into, do you have dogs? Do you like going out? What is it that you enjoy? And let's find those connections. It doesn't have to be you doing all the professional stuff all the time.
Yeah, that's what social media is about. It's about having that personality. It's your opportunity to show a little bit more about yourself. and that's what people connect to.
The other thing that I'm really keen on that helps me from a social media strategy and content planning perspective are images that aren't necessarily of anybody. They might be sort of what we would describe as like their very own stock imagery. So it might be the texture on their desk. It might be a wall outside. You know, we would pick up textures and things that we can then overlay quotes or infographics on. It might be close-ups of like the jewelry that they wear, or an outfit, or whatever it might be. Like you took one last year of I've got a red tweed jacket with a gold button, and it's just a lovely, rich, wintry picture, which we can overlay all sorts on. So it's thinking about those sort of, I suppose if you were talking about video, you describe them as B-roll. So it's almost like B-roll camera stuff, which is becoming more and more important with the amount of content we have to get out there on social media.
Yeah, because you think you've got not just your feed, but your stories, your reels, everything is so content hungry. But we can do so many photos in one go.
Yeah.
And we always say, if you're clever with it and you plan it, you can get a year's worth of content in a day if you really want to.
Absolutely.
It tends to work better if you have seasonal, like autumn, winter, and a spring, summer.
Yeah, definitely.
Imagery, if you can, because it is sometimes hard to replicate one or the other in the other season.
Well, but equally, we had it this year with Jenny, didn't we? We went down to shoot, and we sort of
in summer.
It was summer, and we thought, oh, it's going to be kind of t-shirt shots. We're going to struggle to get the gilet on. It's going to be too hot. And anyway, it looks like we shot it in October because the weather was horrific. It was so cold and so wet. We were all in coats, weren't we, for the whole thing?
Yeah.
And actually, that content will now very nicely see us all the way through until next spring, when hopefully we can go down on a sunny day and get the summer stuff. We have but that's unusual. We've normally been quite lucky, and we do watch the weather forecast, and if the weather's looking absolutely abominable and you want shots outside and it's just not going to work, we do try and jiggle things about within reason, because there's no point you having us there for a day and us going, well, it's this or nothing. So yeah, it's and it's amazing actually because what will happen is we sort of shoot a certain outfit or like a certain set, for example, and then I'll go off and we'll look at like the next outfit or kind of the next setting, and actually that's when you manage to go and get like the little kind of all that B-roll stuff. And then we'll be looking through the face and like, when did you get that? And it was when we'd gone to make a coffee, or just little things that you kind of pick up on. And that's a lot of the content that I then end up using from a social media scheduling point of view, is actually that B-roll stuff, because it's so useful. And that's fairly timeless. It's not going to go off, It's a year-round evergreen thing.
That brings us quite nicely on to actually the value you get out of your images and why professional imagery is really important. So classic example this week, little teaser for you all. We are doing a webinar soon with an amazing.
Yeah, I forgot. I was like, what are you talking about?
And we sent through our blurb about it, and we also got asked to send through some headshots. So that's the kind of thing just really handy to have in the bank.
Yeah.
Are some professional headshots, whether they're studio lit, environmental, whatever it is. If you end up being in the newspaper or a magazine, you will inevitably get asked for that kind of stuff. One of our clients has quite a lot of press coverage. She's been in a lot of different magazines. So she's constantly being in images, whether it's newspapers sending photographers to her or pulling from an existing bank of imagery. It is so important to have. And if you're doing any PR, and we've talked about this with Rhiannon from Garnet PR before, various other people, about sending good imagery with your press releases will help them get picked up, because you've done half the job for them. If you've got a well-written press release with all the important information, and a selection of optimized images that will go with it nicely, great. That makes the editor's life that bit easier.
Yeah.
And it's not just, sorry, go on.
As I say, it makes you more appealing as well if they're looking for, particularly for a service-based business, or they're speaking to you as like a key opinion leader. If you can go back to them really quickly with really like a really professional headshot and your response, they're far more likely to use you, because what will often happen is they will sort of do a sort of shout out to PR agencies, and then they will then send it, send stuff in. And you are more likely to get picked, in my experience, if you send professional imagery quickly. There isn't normally time to turn around a photo shoot.
No.
Unless they are doing editorial on you, in which case that normally if you've got editorial in something like Country Life or the Times or some one of the Times magazines or something like that, they will tend to do their own photography, which you then have to be really careful how you use. But a lot of smaller publications, local publications, web publications want to just use whatever imagery you've got in the bank.
Yeah, and it's not just publications, things where you use your own imagery as well, your website, your social media, any printed collateral you may have. And that's where these sort of B-roll and this sort of personal bank of stock imagery really come in.
Yeah.
If you're doing things like that, your website brochures, where, and we do this a lot, and you'll see this a lot on things we've worked on, and a lot of other agencies we've worked on do a very similar thing, using these background images on websites to put text over. There's a specific type of image that works for that, and that's always something I'm really careful to try and get on photo shoots. Just a few images I think, yeah, that'd be a great header image, or that'd be a great banner image. You could put text there, and it's thinking about the end use. So a really good tip for anyone who's considering getting photos done is think about write down every possible end use case for them, and what would help you. So then when you come to us, we can go, great, let's expand on that, and then that helps us build a shot list, and we can make sure we get you a really good range of photos that offer you amazing value because you can use them in so many places.
Yeah, and we're really big on actually looking at whether it's strategy that we've worked on with you, whether we run your social media for you, or none of those things, and you're purely coming to us for photography. We will be asking you questions about your sort of future plans, because that might mean that actually, you might not want classic headshots, but actually you might say something and we go, well, let's just get a classic headshot in the bag so that you've got it, because actually you might not think you want it or need it at the moment, but you're planning to do this, this, and this, and that could mean that you need it in 6 months' time. Let's just get it done for you. Because like you said, we can do a lot in a day. If you book us for a whole day, you are going to end up with a lot to choose from. which is so important, because actually social media is so hungry for content now. Just even the variety from a social media perspective is important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think things we get asked a lot are things like, do I have to be in all the images? Oh, I really hate my face, I don't want to be in photos. And that's where these things, like building a bigger picture, building these environmental scenes and the B-roll, it means it doesn't have to just be you sat posed in 10 different places and hundreds of pictures of your face. If that's not what you want, if you're a model, then that might be what you want, understandably. But for the average service-based business provider, most people aren't a big fan of having a camera in their face. So our aim is to portray you and what you do without making you act like a model for a day, because that's not what your zone of genius is. That's not your thing.
Yeah, I think I will caveat that with the fact that I would say every single person we've shot has said that they don't particularly like having their photo taken, and they've ended up really liking a lot of the photos because we get them relaxed, but also you are very good at waiting until the right moment to take the photo, so that there isn't any of like this double chin action or like, I think that's sort of part of the magic, is actually there's something so lovely about sending people images and then going, oh my God, I actually really like them.
That's the aim. We want you to like the photos, so you use them.
Yeah, and that's it. And I think people probably also are so used to being snapped on an iPhone at a funny angle with bad lighting, that then when they see themselves lit properly, shot from a good angle, with a relaxed smile on their face where it's not forced, they suddenly go, well, yeah, that's the face I see in the mirror. Because that's what we want. We want you to see the face that you see in the mirror and that people see when they're having a conversation with you.
Yeah, it needs to be the real you. Otherwise, it's a shock. And
that's why we always have you with a camera in your hand. I don't think we've got many pictures where you don't have a camera in your hand.
I had to buy a second camera just so we could use one as a prop.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I think a lot of people are sort of worried about that first. I think once we've got the first photo shoot out of the way, people then suddenly feel a lot more relaxed. But what are the kind of first steps if people are thinking, yes, I need a product shoot with real life models, or I want my service-based business, I want a photo shoot for that. What's the first step? Where do we go?
I think first step is figure out what you need. What do you need photos of? Why? As well. I always ask yourself, why? Why am I doing this? What's the end use case? Because there's nothing worse than just booking something for the sake of it and then turning up to photo shoot with no idea why you're there and no plan of what you're doing.
Don't worry, we'd never let you get to that stage.
No, but depending on who you're booking photo shoot with, everyone works a bit differently. But so work out your why. Think about images you like. So it's a great thing to do is go away, make a mood board, Pinterest, Instagram collections, screenshots on your phone, whatever it is, cuttings in magazines. Figure out what you like, what style works with your brand. Then find a photographer who can deliver that.
Mm.
So there might be a few different people. There's different things to consider. Location, who's local to you. It might be someone up in Scotland and you're in London, but you love their style, so you'll make it work. Just consider various logistics. What's your budget? Can you afford to have professional models in? Can you afford to fly a photographer down from Scotland because you really like their style? That's all needs to be considered. Image licensing is a big thing. So we tend to include images with commercial licenses as part of the shoot fee. Yeah. Whereas some people, you may then have to pay additional licensing for different use cases for each image on top of that. So that's a question to ask and consider. Don't just assume you're going to get all of your images to do what you want with.
Yeah, read the small
print. The case. And I always remember that copyright stays with the photographer unless it's explicitly signed over.
Don't edit the images.
And don't edit the images. Yeah. that comes back to why getting a style or consulting with a photographer to bring about the style you like is really, really important, because there's rigid copyright for you to apply a photo or edit the image in any way. So the best case scenario is that you just deliver images you like. The end. Happy days. And those images are optimized for social media, everything else. So think about your end use cases, what style you like, and all the logistics that go with it. It's really boring stuff, but it's the stuff that really, really makes a day go more smoothly. And it all comes back to you getting the best value you can out of a photo shoot. The more pre-work that's been done, the better.
Yeah.
So when you approach a photographer and say, right, I need a photo shoot, I need this doing. You go, okay, great, let's have a call. Let's make a plan. And we'll ask you loads of really annoying questions, but it's all for good reason. And it's also we get the best end use case possible.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I think it's all about, we can turn a photo shoot around fairly quickly, but those initial meetings are so important because it means that we're all on the same page. It means that you have input. What we find with a lot of people is they know what they want, but they don't have necessarily the language to like put that across. So there is a bit of kind of fact finding from our point of view as to finding out exactly what it is that they need to be delivered, and that can be anything from the edits at the end to the sort of style of the shoot itself.
And it's things like working out the location. What's the light like? So Jenny's shoot was a great example of that. A lot of the photos took place in an indoor arena that was a dark pit. So we knew in advance I was going to have to bring in studio lighting to that. Yeah. There was no way we were going to get nice images
without
in that area without it. So, and these are things you might not consider yourself, and that's why having these pre-meetings is so important. And we ask you, what locations have you got in mind? What's the light like in there?
Yeah.
Are we going to be shooting in the daytime, or is it going to be October at 5 p.m. and there's going to be not much light left?
Yeah.
So all the little things.
Yeah, I will never forget us traipsing a hell of a lot of lighting equipment across London to shoot at the Palladium, which was a career highlight, being able to shoot in the Palladium. But from a lighting perspective and a logistics perspective, not so fun.
I had a very big backpack, but it was fun.
It was, but it's sort of looking in, and we like to see where you're intending to have your photo shoot before. So ideally, if you're close enough, we can site visit, but otherwise a video call or photos of where you want to have your shoot beforehand can be great, because we might go, oh, well, actually, can you just move the camera around a bit so we can see, oh yeah, that wall's amazing, or that, you know, that old door, or that sofa, or whatever it might be. We should get the opportunity to have a bit of input in terms of the location as well.
Yeah, definitely. And it all helps everything run smoothly on the day.
Yeah.
And that hopefully helps you as subjects feel less self-conscious, because you're not worrying about all these other things. It just sort of happens around you, and we just want to be relaxed. That's the main thing.
Absolutely. So if anybody would like to talk to us in more detail about a photo shoot for their business, whether it's product or service based, but we particularly love service based businesses because we get really, really super duper creative in terms of working out what those shots need to be. You can send us a direct message, you can send us an email, you can book a discovery call through the website. There's many different ways to get in contact with us. We have limited availability in October. I think probably have about 2 slots left at the end of towards the end, middle to end of October. And then November, that diary is now open. So if you're wanting to get that lovely winter content, that hot chocolate, that fireside, that walking in your wellies, whatever it might be, we are very happy to have that conversation with you. And we will be back next week. And then we might be taking a little hiatus for a couple of weeks. But we'll tell you more about that next week. But yes, thank you very much for joining us again, and we will see you in exactly a week.
See you there.